Hello everyone, welcome to our first episode of Keeping Up with MDN. Today we are joined with our lovely Leah from Law and Ethics. Leah, introduce yourself, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool. So I am in my 5th year of mechanical engineering and arts, so doing philosophy for my arts degree. So a bit of a weird combo, but I really enjoy it.
But it works, it somehow works.
Yeah, absolutely works. And I joined the Law and Ethics Committee at the start of last year when it had just been formed. So part of sort of like the original team of members that have, that sort of founded it all. And so I did my time and I started the managerial position at the end of last year, sort of start of this year. So it's been a bit of a transition, but yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far.
And have you seen a lot of the evolve, like how the team has evolved, how it's changed in terms of where you started in your original position? How has the team changed to where we're at currently with Law and Ethics? And
yeah, absolutely. So I think in terms of what we had as our visions at the start, I think from the very start we all had the same goals. Like from when Erica and Scott still had the team to when I have a team now, our goals have always been very in line. But I think the biggest change is now the amount of impact we've been able to make. I feel like now after a year and a half or so, we've actually been able to put out some really cool stuff, and it's turned from just like dreams and planning to actual results.
And there's so much that does go on behind the scenes. What would you say was most appealing, or current projects that are most appealing to you in terms of where to go in the future with the Law and Ethics branch?
I think for me, the biggest appeal of the Law and Ethics branch is like being someone from STEM. I know some people watching this may be able to relate, is that when you're working in STEM, I guess the goal is just to make stuff, and it's sort of like the goal is just to get to the end, and you sort of get lost in the process, and you forget about why you're doing the things that you're doing and who you're doing the things for. And my vision for the Law and Ethics team when I first joined is I really wanted to make an impact into sort of changing the way that STEM students approach their work and approach creating stuff, especially when you're talking about AI that has so much impact on the way that we live our lives and the way
100%.
that and the way that we do things. And I just wanted to sort of change that mentality that we're just creating things for the sake of creating things, but we're actually doing it for people. We're doing it for impact. We're doing it to make a positive change.
And currently there's so much that's going on in terms of like the evolution of AI with programs like ChatGPT. How would you say, is there any fears that you have with the Law and Ethics background, regulations that you think need to be implemented? How do you think that next step can be taken?
I think for me, it's not really a fear, but I think it's more so I would be wary of how things were being developed if there was no consideration into law and ethics. If people stopped thinking about it and they just started to do whatever they wanted, and they just started
it's scary.
It would be really scary if we didn't have these people doing similar work to what we're doing, whether it's us managing our projects team, or the corporate side of AI, like the big open AIs and stuff like that. If they didn't have the people managing the law and ethics, then it would be really scary. But there's some people in this space that are doing really great work, and so
you included.
The team included. And I think knowing that there's people thinking about those sort of repercussions only makes me more excited about what's coming in the future, because knowing that there's people that are wanting to do it properly, and
they're aware of it.
Yeah, they're aware of the risks, they're aware of the challenges, and they're doing what they can to mitigate any of those challenges. Makes you excited about what's to come in the future, because it is a really good it's a really good thing that the AI is developing this way.
100%. And it's something like, obviously as students we use all the time, and it's something that can has the potential to become this really incredible tool. But yes, like you said, it's how we use it. And as a Law and Ethics team, what are your current projects? I know there's a lot that's been going on behind the scenes as the branch, along with the technical branches, how we can sort of intersect the Law and Ethics with the sort of HPC branches, deep learning. How are you finding that sort of next step in terms of bringing in the guidelines and the regulations to deepen
absolutely. So I guess the biggest thing and the most exciting thing that we've been working on, it's been a while now actually, since last year, has been working on that ethical and legal framework for the MDN technical teams. And so I guess the idea behind that is to make sure that whenever the technical teams are doing any project, that they have all of the tools and the resources available to them to make sure that should any risks come up or any concerns that they might have, they will have everything available to them to help either like mitigate those risks or get support in doing that. And I guess the main goal is to make sure that MDN is outputting stuff that is really considerate and is work that is doing good for the people around us.
Could you give us like a little example of something like a current regulation that you've implemented that has been or will be taken into action with one of the branches at the moment?
So at the moment, we're still sort of developing that consultation phase.
Yeah.
So we've finished, doing the big write-up of the giant document that some of you guys may or may not have seen. It's big document. But I think right now we're sort of coming into that phase where we're looking at the projects more specifically, and we're saying, what parts of these projects do we think that the teams might run into some risk?
Okay.
Whether it's things to do with the type of data that they're acquiring, the way that they're training their systems to make sure that there's no bias and stuff like that. And so we're working with Adbay and Linton right now to go through all of those projects and build sort of a way that we can integrate ourselves in the project cycle, so that while the teams are going through their projects, we'll be around to sort of consult with them and to help them out.
Because it definitely, it's a big sort of, it's a project that it's a collaborative effort, I would say, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you did talk about bias before. That's something that's definitely been propping up a lot, especially more recently. How would you say that that's sort of coming into effect, and how can we sort of mitigate the biases that a lot of like artificial intelligence has been sort of, it's been propping up that they have been?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we always say in the Law and Ethics Committee and a lot of the like bioethics spaces is you'll always hear them say that your AI systems is only going to be as good as the data that you train it on. And so I guess the biggest risks with these systems is that we have to understand that they're not infallible, and that whenever we put sort of these incomplete data sets that are not representative of whole communities or only represent sort of your majorities, and you tend to leave out things like minority groups or sort of fringe cases, then you'll find that that's not going to fit for the whole population, and you'll get those cases where the AI system is actually not working for you, but actually actively working against you. And it's up to us to try and mitigate those risks, whether it's making sure that the data sets are complete, that they're representative of a group, they're not being collected in a way that is sort of disadvantaged towards a type of person, or even if there's also these cases where you'll find that you just can't fit the data and you can't fit the information that you have for whole cases. So it might even be about sort of restructuring the way that you build your AI systems and saying this will apply to this certain group, and then we have to create something for someone else.
And how would you say, in terms of the legal sector, how do you think that programs like artificial intelligence programs can be used to really benefit the legal sector and benefit some of the work that lawyers are currently working on?
Yeah, so I think with AI and the legal sector, it's a bit of a tricky, tricky question.
I guess the question also props up, like, are lawyers going to become sort of redundant? But how do you think that they can work together in the partnership there to sort of?
I think when it comes to the legal sector, I always believe that AI should be used as a tool, but not something to replace workers. I think it's important to recognize that a lot of the legal system, the way that you see it, it's not objective. Like the laws and stuff that we have in place are really based on the sort of like normative ethics that we have, and it's based on, as a society, what we see as valuable. And it's when we're thinking about AI systems, we're just training them on data, but we're not teaching them ethics, then we're not teaching them what to believe is right from wrong. And especially when you're thinking about the law, where not everything is a clear-cut case where you can't just say, oh, someone's did this, you get 6 years of prison. It's not.
Can AI do that?
Yeah, it's not really a mathematical equation, right? And so I think taking the humanity out of law would definitely be something that I believe would be not the right thing to do, but I do see that there's ways that they can benefit. You know, I think the strong part of the AI is to, I guess, automate all of the I guess more of the tedious tasks that consume so much of the time, whether it's for lawyers, whether it's for any corporate job. I think, you know, using it as a tool to help assist in the work that you're doing, but not using it to replace the people within
and the decisions.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
What would you say is probably a past project that you're really proud of, or most proud of as a?
We've worked on a lot of projects that I've been really proud of. But I guess one of the ones that come to mind, and we were just chatting about this beforehand, is we did a collaboration recently with ALEX, so AI for Law Enforcement. And so alongside Campbell Wilson and a couple of the other people in the ALEX team, we were fortunate enough to be given an opportunity to speak at the symposium that they had around using AI and technology for child protection online. And so there was a lot of, you know, really important people in the crowd. So you're looking at people from AFP, you know, Victoria Police, Attorney General's office. You had some big names in the crowd.
Group.
Yeah, like, you know, Grace Tame was there. I was really you know, starstruck. And some, you know, some really important people in that space have all come together to, I guess, you know, discuss what the next steps are in order to really make a push towards, you know, preventing child exploitation online and doing what we can to protect, you know, children online. And we were given a chance to debate and start a conversation around whether or not we should be able to use AI facial recognition technologies to find, you know, child sexual victims online and any perpetrators. And so that was a really interesting discussion around, you know, the use of AI and, you know, and sort of what risks come with using technology like that.
Interesting, how do we grapple with that in the future?
Yeah, absolutely.
With technology that we have, but can we?
Yeah,
and
because it's like, obviously we know that it's important to save these children and to do what we can to protect them. But also thinking about what risks come with that, like privacy, you know, surveillance, things like data scraping, and how can we, I guess, effectively manage it with things like frameworks and different policies to make sure that technology is being used only for good and not for anything malicious.
It's a big question for the future and for
absolutely.
Currently, I can imagine. And in terms of what areas you're hoping to see grow in the future as a law and ethics team, obviously there's been such an evolution to this point so far, but currently, are there any sort of areas you'd like to see grow in the future as a team?
I think for us, we really just want to encourage people within the team and also anyone working in the AI space to continue thinking about those hard questions and to continue considering sort of those ethical dilemmas and to continue making sure that whenever you're doing a project, you're not just thinking about, you know, means to an end, but you're really, you know, being really cautious and you're being really considerate about those types of questions. And obviously, I guess for us as a team, we'd love to be able to work with more teams like ALEX and more research groups to be able to put out some work, I guess, surrounding other really important topics, whether it's, you know, child protection, any sort of, you know, like parliamentary inquiries, legal reform, that sort of thing. We want to be able to contribute to those types of conversations in order to really make a change in the way that things are being done.
Well, the work that you've been doing currently is incredible. As a team, as a manager, absolutely incredible. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Our first ever guest speaker on Keeping
very
Up with
exciting.
MJ. You did incredible.
Thank you
so much for tuning in, for viewing. There's much more to come this way. So yeah, be there next episode. Thank you, Leah.
Cheers.
Cheers.